Longhorn football news. Yesterday, we learned that Texas was putting Samaje Burrell on indefinite suspension as a result of his reportedly his role in a crash with Tavondre Sweat, where we ended him, and then Tavondre Sweat ends up being charged with the DWI. Where we learned late yesterday that Samaje Burrell, probably in response to that indefinite suspension, that he is hitting the transfer portal. He said, I would like to thank God for the opportunity of being at the University of Texas. I want to thank my family and brothers for supporting me. I am extremely grateful for Coach Sark and the Longhorn staff. I will be entering the transfer portal with 4 years of eligibility. So he's deciding to pursue other opportunities elsewhere. I figured that would be the case. I mean, I think that's what the coaches their intention was ultimately that he would transfer, and that's why the indefinite suspension. I mean, he's left in purgatory. He has no idea what his future is going to be at Texas. Rather go into the portal. At least you have a little bit more certainty that, all right, I'm in the portal now. I can pursue other opportunities. If you were just stuck on the roster at Texas on indefinite suspension, what are you going to do? All you're doing is losing more ground on the competition to play and to compete for reps.
That's the biggest thing is, when you have this much competition in some of these rooms now, to lose a year or two in that, it's done.
Yeah, he knows, and exactly. He sees the writing on the wall. He's in those position rooms. He knows, hey man, I was already fighting for my life to get every rep I could before the incident. And now I'm suspended, and I'm in the doghouse with the coaches. Best you go somewhere else with a fresh start. So best of luck to Samaje Burrell. Yeah, this is what the transfer portal is for. I mean, listen, it's bad, obviously, what happened for the young man, and it's bad that the coaches have to put him on indefinite suspension. But just because you made a mistake, that shouldn't necessarily ruin your football career. You learn from that mistake, you learn a lesson, you move on. You can have a fresh start somewhere and still pursue your athletic goals and your professional football career somewhere else. And trust me, there are a lot of schools, I'm sure, that were really high on Samaje Burrell when he was being recruited, and they're going to see his name in the transfer portal, and they'll get giddy about it. And you go, hey, man, I really like that guy. That's why finishing second in recruiting has never been more important. Never been more important. It used to be back in the day when you would lose on a recruiting battle, you just lose a recruiting battle. It's like, damn it, I lost out on that kid. That sucks. I guess I'll see him when we play against him, or I'll see him down the line when he gets drafted, whatever. Now you got to recruit to the whistle, because finishing second or a close third in recruiting never been more important, because the likelihood of that guy hitting or that young lady, ain't talking about any sport here now, hitting the transfer portal and then deciding, damn, you know what? I didn't like that school. I made the wrong choice. Who was second on my list? Boom. And then automatically if they hit the portal, and then that coach, even if that coach is somewhere else, by the way. Even if that coach is somewhere else, that coach is at another place, which happens a lot too, or if at the same place, that the first name program that comes to mind was who finished second in your recruiting. I've been told this by players, when you hit the transfer portal, when you're thinking about it, it's like, you know what, man, maybe I made the wrong choice.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, Texas was a second choice. Sark was a choice for him as well that he liked. And when those two merged and he wasn't playing at Ohio State, he said, well, now Sark, who I really liked when he was recruiting me at Alabama, and Texas, who I wanted to play for my whole life, well, now they're together, and so I want to come down there. And that was a second choice that, you'd already kind of laid the groundwork. Sark had in Alabama had already had the relationship. So the phone call was a lot easier.
That's exactly right. And Sark has talked about that, how getting guys like Isaiah Bond and Matthew Golden, it helps them because I already recruited those guys.
Yeah.
We recruited those guys anyway, and maybe you lost out on the recruitment, or you went to another school and got promoted, whatever. You still have that relationship. So that connection, more important than ever to as a coach, to try to cultivate that connection with that player. Even if you lose that recruitment, you never know. The seeds that you planted could end up paying huge dividends in a year, 2 years down the line. They decide to transfer, and hey, you guys link up again, and you can just kind of pick up right where you left off. All right, let's hear from Jaden Blue, because Jaden Blue spoke to the media yesterday about a lot of different things. This was actually some good audio from Jaden Blue. One of the things he talked about was the bond between him and Cedric Baxter. Cedric Baxter is on the record saying that he believes that he and Jaden Blue, if they get closer have more camaraderie as a brotherhood, that it will help them on the field. Here is Jaden Blue being asked about that.
Yeah, me and CJ, we was close last year, but in order for us to be that dynamic duo that we want to be this year, we've talked to each other, and one of the things that we said was to get a lot closer off the field. And I think if we get a lot closer off the field, then it'll help us get a long way on the field.
And one quick follow-up: how do you kind of see that, kind of carry over to the field and what you guys are doing this spring?
Like I said, it's we've been hanging with each other a lot already, and you can see it carry each other to the field. When we see something different, when one of us come off the field, we'll talk to the other person. So I think that plays a big part.
There you go. Plays a big part. And you know what? And he's right about that. I mean, and I'm hoping that it matters when they're on the field together. Patrick, as you know, nobody been a bigger proponent of the pony package than me. I think I would love to see those guys in the backfield together. And we saw it, by the way, in the Sugar Bowl. Matter of fact, they started out, their first touchdown drive where we were running that pony package. And it's crazy. Jade Blue was asked about that. We don't have that audio, that piece of audio, but he was asked about, I believe it was Chip Brown asked him, man, you guys started out in the Sugar Bowl, first quarter averaging double digit, rushing yards per carry on the ground. And he said, yeah, Coach Choice told us we could run it on them, that we can run the ball on Washington. And I think to myself, so Coach Choice knew they could run the ball, which means Sark knew they could run the ball. Why didn't they run the ball more on Washington? But I get it. Obviously, we won't get back into that. I won't rehash that. But Jaden Blue and Cedric Baxter together on the field, though, I do think those guys in that specific package can be deadly, just like a Rojo and a Bijan, because their skill sets complement one another. They really do. I mean, Cedric Baxter, downhill runner like a Rojo, and Jaden Blue is the guy, versatile. You can get him on the edge, and he can do some things out in space a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I think working together, and it's all trying to use that mental bandwidth of, where you talk about having, trying to push yourself and the competitiveness. Yeah, you want to be the guy, but if you can use your competitiveness of, hey, I really want to kill somebody, to be on the other side of the ball, and you got your teammates back, and you can be healthy competition with him of who's the better back. You can have that healthy competition, and then the one where you're gonna, really go after someone on the other side of the ball, instead of having a running back room where you guys aren't close, so it can get contentious when you see the box score and, well, he got 14 carries and I got 3 and I got to block all game, and I don't want to sit in there and block all game, and he's getting these carries. And so if you have that better relationship and you're rooting for each other on the sideline and you're helping out, then you feel much better after the game. You're ready to go back into practice on Monday morning or Sunday morning or whatever it is, and feel good about it going forward, and then just get focused on the other team as opposed to focused on what's happening in the running back room.
No, I agree with you on that, because Rojo and Bijan had a special relationship, and I think it has enhanced that running back room and the culture of it. And even last year, right, Jonathan Brooks talks about how he supported Cedric Baxter, who won the starting job initially, and then lost the starting job to Jonathan Brooks because Jonathan Brooks had such an amazing season. And I think now there's this camaraderie with them, and I think that's why they're talking about, let's get closer as running backs so that we are genuinely happy for each other when somebody's out there and genuinely supporting each other, and it's not fake. So I agree. That's a really good point.
And I mean, and I heard a funny story the other day about JJ Redick talking about Kobe Bryant, and about when they were just doing like team pools for Team USA, and he was first time he met him, and they're doing and they shoot around, and they're after they finish practice, Kobe's like, hey, do you want to shoot some balls? He's like, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna shoot around with Kobe. And so he's going up there and starts shooting. And he's like, what are we doing? And he realizes Kobe's watching how he's shooting and watching everything he's doing, because he wants to learn, okay, this guy's one of the best shooters. How do I improve my shot? So I'm watching his form, how he's lining up and everything. And so when you become closer and you have little bits where you can help each other with, hey, man, I saw you taking that left turn. I saw you when you go left, you're doing this little piece. And when you're, when you're trying to go in that, when you're trying to go through a tackle, you lower your shoulder, but you keep your head up too much, and just little things like that if you see or something that one guy does that's better, you can help each other both improve because you guys are going to be around each other. Becoming better friends off the field means you still talk about football all the time, because all these people, that's kind of what everybody does.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. There's no question about that. It does help you. I remember that experience when, with Kyle Shanahan and Chris Sims, and getting close with Bo Scaife, getting close with those guys. They were all offensive guys. So we talk ball, and I would get tons of tips and clues about why the offense was what they were trying to achieve when they motioned this, when they used this formation, this personnel grouping, and just picking the brain of those guys because they were all offensive guys. And the closer you are as a group, they're trying to help you. I remember, you get I'd get coaching from those guys, like after, let's say, Sims threw a great post route to Roy Williams, and then he'd run over there after and go, "Hey, you know what I saw? I saw you open your hips. I saw you open your hips the wrong way. We knew we had you." And boom, that's all. I was like, "Damn, all right, yeah, that's a great point. I totally agree." And that's a brotherhood, man. Okay, let's hear from Jaden Boy. Another cut. Talking about patience, and this is another thing the running back room seems to have, this unique element where the players are willing to be patient to wait their turn. Saw it with Rojo. Bijan didn't have to wait. Bijan needs to be out there, but saw it with Rojo, saw it with a guy like Jonathan Brooks, and now you're seeing it again with Jaden Blue. Here is Jaden Blue when he talks about why he's willing to be patient in this running back role.
Yeah, like I said, I was always taught, to trust the process, and me being the young guy, and I think having B-Roll, Keelan, and JB in front of me helped me a lot. And if I use JB as an example, his first 2 years, he didn't really play much, and he played last year. He was probably the best running back in the country, and it changed his whole life. So I think the thing for me seeing that is just, staying patient, and whenever it was my time, that I was going to show up.
Was it hard at all to stay patient in those times?
Not really, because I knew that, it was always a plan for me. So I think it was never really hard knowing that it was guys in front of me that I could learn from.
There you go. And like I said, they've established this because they keep putting guys in the NFL and guys having, elite seasons and career years. Why wouldn't you be willing to wait? Because you see the path. You see the path. The path is clear in front of you. Grind and learn and wait. And grind, learn, and soon it'll be your turn. I said to Dr. Sushi like that.
And man, and we know that if you talk about one position that is about mileage, where you go, I don't need to start 3 years at running back. I'd love to have the records, but I don't need to get the bulk of the carries for 3 years and cut my NFL career by a couple years because I'm just putting on so much mileage on in college. It's not necessarily the worst thing to really only be the starting guy and be, the heavy back for a year or two instead of 3 to 4. That's not necessarily the worst thing.
No, it's interesting you bring that up because we know the NFL now, they have that mindset as well. Like, no, I don't want a running back who's been a workhorse back in high school and in college. No, I want a guy that's going to be fresh so that I can get the best version of that back. Interesting you bring that up because that was one of the reasons that Jaden Blue says he skipped his senior year. He's been asked about this a lot. Remember, he skipped his senior year. It was a big issue then. Now, guys skip their senior season all the time. Not even a big deal. But when he did it, it was pretty much unprecedented. Guys didn't do that. Here's Jaden Blue when he was asked about that situation and skipping his senior season.
Well, the main thing, one of the reasons was I wanted to prepare mentally and get better physically. And I knew that I had 2 knee injuries in in middle school that took away both of my years in middle school. So I wanted that extra year to get better mentally and physically. And I think it helped a lot. I think that's part of the reason why I'm at now. And, a lot of the negatives was I knew that a lot of things were going to come with it, but I knew that it wasn't what other people thought. And I knew that was the best thing for me. And I knew that it was going to pay off.
What were those injuries?
I dislocated my kneecap.
The same kneecap twice?
Yeah.
There you go. So Jaden Blue, he's talking about what you're talking about, Patrick. He's like, nah, I want to be fresher. So this young man is probably mature beyond his years. Corey Mose, who does a great job covering the team, he actually had a mashup of Cedric Baxter and of both Jaden Blue and Cedric Baxter talking about the philosophy that you just referenced, Patrick, of shouldering the load, of sharing that load and the burden of the touches in the backfield so that you don't, wear yourself out as a running back here. So the first time you hear it, it's actually Jaden Blue, and then it's Cedric Baxter, and then it's Jaden Blue again. So here is the mashup from my man, Corey Mose over there at KVU.
I don't really care much about touches. I think at the running back position, you don't really want to get ran into the ground anyway.
If you're a running back, you should want to split carries. You should want to play with at least 2 other good running backs because you don't want that wear and tear on your body.
I think, the touches that I get to be, I'll make them count the most. And I think I don't really worry much about touches because I know that, the touches that I do get, I'll make the most of them.
These guys are paying attention, Patrick. I heard Jaden Blue reference the devaluation of the running back position.
Yeah.
In the NFL, they're talking about sharing carries and touches, like you just remarked about, and even him skipping his senior season shows a maturity, or at least shows that he's being advised. Hey, man, at running back, you can't. Your shelf life is short and unique. So you need to keep that in mind with all the decisions you make about your body and about your path to the NFL. And he said as well, I had a quote here about it, and he said that his plan is to go to the NFL after this year. His plan is to go to the NFL after this year. That's the plan. Doesn't mean, he's adamant on it and he's that committed to it. That's the plan. And he's hoping that he has a breakout season good enough where he would warrant being drafted.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody would love to be able to get drafted, after the junior year. And hopefully for Texas fans, he has a great season, and so does CJ Baxter. Right. And that you keep recruiting, and there's always guys next in line. It is always next man up at Texas right now, which is a very good feeling. That running back room is continuing to produce top talent. So it only helps you in recruiting if Jaden Blue has a great season and he gets drafted. If you get a running back drafted in the first 3 rounds over and over and over again,
yeah, man, it's crazy.
It'll help you out. It helps you out in recruiting. It makes everybody's job easier.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I totally agree. So there you go. So Jaden Blue signing. We didn't play all of it. There's actually another good clip of him talking about the speed, him being one of the, if not the fastest guy on the team. We'll get to that coming up a little bit later on. But let's get to the break. We got the big fat poll of the day coming up next. Also,